What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video, and I apologize. I was meaning to go live during this game, then I wasn't able to do that, and I was trying to go live after the game, couldn't do that, so now I'm getting to making the video now. I don't really know when this is going to be uploaded, but we're going to be talking about the New York Giants traveling to Cleveland, playing their second preseason game against the Cleveland Browns, and this one was a lot better of a product to watch. I was able to record this with my DVR, and it was a lot more of a better game to watch than the previous game where it was a complete snooze fest, where you were only able to really get bits and pieces of information, of highlights from this New York Giants team. But today against the Cleveland Browns, although we lost, like I said, I don't care about winning preseason games. It doesn't mean anything to me because of the fact that these aren't our starter guys out there. Obviously, it means nothing towards the regular season. And you see teams all the time that wind up being terrible teams go 4-0 in the preseason. Some teams like, the Baltimore Ravens, who haven't lost a preseason game since 2015. Obviously, they're a good team. They have good depth. That's why that's the case. But there are plenty of situations. The 0-16 Detroit Lions went 4-0 in the preseason, okay? So I don't care about who wins the preseason game. I care about the takeaways from that football game in particular, and from the players that are going to be on the field during the regular season. So we look at the quarterback play. Obviously, that was a huge issue in last week's game. Mike Glennon only threw for about 20 yards exactly, and Clayton Thorson threw for like 72 yards, but he was absolutely terrible. They move away from Thorson, and they bring in the man named Brian Lewerke, and he wasn't terrible. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't great as well. Mike Glennon was a lot more sharp and threw some really, really good passes, and especially some sideline passes that I really liked. So if Mike Glennon keeps playing like this, I wouldn't be too scared about him being our backup. But man, Kyle Lauletta, I have to say it, man. I miss Kyle Lauletta. # respect the law. I miss this guy. He constantly lit up the preseason. He would always light up the preseason, throwing for 200-something yards a preseason. 14 out of 23, 152 yards. He had a really good game last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He threw for like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that. But I really miss Kyle Lauletta. Let's just say that. But the quarterback play was a lot better. And what does that mean? Obviously, it doesn't mean anything for the quarterback position, because these guys should not be on the field during the regular season. We'll see what happens. But it also gives the opportunity to see what we see in our wide receivers. That was something that was really hard to determine, because the combined offensive passing yards were 92 yards total. So this is 188 total yards. Again, not great, but it is a step in the right direction. So we were able to see something from the receiving position. Now, Ryson John did a pretty good job today. I think he was wearing 44 today. I thought he was wearing a different number before, but he's wearing 44. And he had a really good seam pass and really good catch and traffic pass. And I think another sideline catch as well that Mike Glennon gave him. But Ryson John looked really good. I don't know how much of a possibility it is for him to actually make this roster. That's something that is going to be difficult. I don't know if he's going to be able to make this roster because of the tight end depth there. But, the injury to Levine Toilolo and, them opening things up in the back end of the tight end group. Maybe he gets to slip in there. I don't know if he's going to be, a guy cut or a guy brought on the practice squad. But moving on to David Sills. David Sills did a pretty good job. Now, 3 receptions, 31 yards. He was only targeted 5 times. I really wanted to see what he can do deeper down the field. I wanted them to test that a little bit more. Had a touchdown as well. Had a really good touchdown as well. So I like that. Dante Pettis had a couple of good catches. Damian Willis was all right. Now, Devontae Booker, can we move on to the running game a little bit? The running game was good. The running game was pretty damn good. They were consistent. Now, there were times where they were stuffed up, and obviously that's what, doesn't make their averages look as very good. But let me tell you right now, Devontae Booker had a hell of a game. Now, one thing that we all jumped on the Corey Clement bandwagon about last week was because Corey Clement was just hitting the hole with more burst. Really wanted it. It looks like he really wanted, to gain those yards and was determined to do so. Devontae Booker kind of looked lost. He didn't really know where to hit the hole. He didn't look like he tried to move the pile. But that was a totally different situation in this game. Devontae Booker was a highlight this game. I know he only ran for 6 carries, 27 yards, 4.5 yards a carry. Had a nice touchdown as well. But he ran that rock pretty damn well. There were times where he was moving the pile, and a couple of yards he was moving the pile. And on top of that, a couple of times where he was able to spin out of a situation, gain another 5 yards. I think that happened about once or twice where he was able to spin away in between the tackles, in the tackle box, where he was in the A gap and able to spin out and gain some more yards. Devontae Booker definitely looked a lot more sharp than we saw last week, and so I'm really confident in this running game between Booker and Clement. Now, this is the first time we were able to see Gary Brightwell. It wasn't a great showing of Gary Brightwell. Obviously, it looks like he could catch the ball and run, something that was a question coming into training camp when we drafted him. He's a bruising back. Is he going to be able to catch the ball out the backfield? It seems like he's able to do that. Now, Gary Brightwell is a guy that, even though we're getting a chance to see him now, I don't know how much of a possibility it's going to be him actually making this roster. Remember, we have Corey Clement and Devontae Booker, and we also have Elijah Penny, who is going to be our fullback, who's pretty much listed as a running back. That's 3 running backs right there. I don't know how much of a possibility. On top with Saquon Barkley, by the way, I'm talking about with the depth. That's 3 running backs right there besides Saquon Barkley. That's 4. Gary Brightwell is probably going to be a lock to make the practice squad. So I still want to see how good he is in this final preseason game, but I don't think he's going to make this roster. As far as the Cleveland Browns running game goes, they did whatever they wanted to on the ground. Our running game was not on point this game. Kyle Lauletta was absolutely elusive in the passing. I know we sacked Kyle Lauletta a couple of times. Only once. I thought it was twice, but we sacked Kyle Lauletta once. But that guy was so slippery. We shouldn't have let that guy go, man. I don't care how many times I gotta say it. I will exhaust it to the grave. We should not have let go of Kyle Lauletta, dude. But he was slippery. He was able to escape the sack right before halftime, able to escape a big sack, and was able to move up for some yards. It didn't matter, of course, because it was at the end of the half, but it shows talent. It really does show talent. So let's move on to the defense. Now, again, Rodarius Williams leads the team in tackles, and that's never a good situation. Last week, it was 8 total tackles, 6 of them solo. He did a little better this game. I will grant him that. He had a pass defense in this game where they thought he was Adoree Jackson because he wore 25. But it was Rodarius Williams. He looked a little better this game. There's still a little ways to go. I think we definitely overrated Rodarius Williams. Now, is he better than your typical 6th-round pick? Absolutely he is. But, a lot of people are saying that he should have been first team and that, if a guy like Adoree Jackson goes down for injury, that he'll fill in right in his place just fine at outside corner. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I think he's still going to be buried on the depth chart. I think he still has a lot to learn, but he's a guy that is definitely in development to probably be a starter in the near future. David Moa really showed out. Boise State Broncos, go Big Blue for the Broncos. David Moa really showed out. He did a pretty damn good job. He was looking like Danny Shelton out there with a big hair coming out of his helmet. Julian Love was all right. Carter Coughlin had another good game at inside linebacker, man. Carter Coughlin is definitely a lock to make this roster. He's probably going to be an inside linebacker, or if they can't fit him on the inside linebacker depth chart, they'll probably sneak him in at the edge rusher. He's definitely going to make this roster and definitely going to be a good piece for rotation. Carter Coughlin seems consistent. Obviously, his pass defense isn't phenomenal. He's an edge rusher at heart, so it's getting there. But he had a sack. He was able to use his pass rushing abilities to blitz from the inside and get to the quarterback. He was able to hurry Lauletta and Case Keenum a bunch. So good job by Carter Coughlin, man. I'm moving down the list here. Anybody else that I really noticed? Madre Harper looked pretty good. There's Madre Harper, right? And Montre Hardage. and I get confused between the two. All I know is that there's defensive backs, and they're on the field majority of the time, and they looked all right. I think they looked all right. But other than that, I don't really know who else to really highlight here. But we looked better. Now, the starters did not play again, which I don't know how I feel about. Although I'm desperate to see them, I don't think it's probably the good idea. I don't want anybody to get hurt. For the most part, we've been able to stay healthy this entire preseason, which is a good thing. Let's cross our fingers on that. But for the most part, we've been able to stay healthy, but I don't want to take any chances. This final preseason game should be a rehearsal period, and final rehearsal, and we need to get some of those starters in there to play. At least Daniel Jones. Get Daniel Jones a little bit, accustomed with his weapons. As far as if we get the starting offense out there, I think I'll be satisfied. We just get the starting offense there for a drive or two. I just want to see that against the Patriots. So that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys think about this game? And what are your takeaways? And who do you think did well? Who do you think did terrible? And I'll see you guys in the next video.